Hello, and welcome back to Beauty in the Bible, episode 3. Today, I wanted to talk about comparison. So, comparison, like that thing we do when we're on Instagram and we see someone else being successful in their business, and we start to think about how that relates to us, and we start looking at ourselves in this lens of why am I not there, or feeling like you should be further than you already are. And I think there's a really fine line between using encouragement from other things like that, and then also turning it into a negative spiral that won't promote any type of growth. I feel like comparison was something really hard for me in the beginning, especially when I was not confident in my skills. And the best way I could beat it is to just really believe in my abilities and be confident in it and keep my eye focused on God. So once I started realizing my career my career can be the thing that brings me closer to God and closer to the kingdom of heaven, even though all I do is lashes personally. But whatever you do, in whatever scope that you work in, even small things that seem like they don't really matter in this world, they're not saving lives, like we're not doctors. I feel like we connect with people in such a different way, just like I've mentioned in other podcasts, and we can use our gift to bring us closer to God. And when we're focused on that as our main priority, what other people are doing just kind of fades away. So I've noticed for sure, even for me, I used to be really, really active on Instagram and talking to other people and really interested in what other people were doing. And now I do get on Instagram, but I don't use it for the same thing anymore. Like when I see people posting their wins and stuff, I love that. Love to see it, and I can cheer them on. If anything, it's always just a positive thing. But I don't find I don't let it take away from what I'm doing, because I'm genuinely very proud and happy with how my career is going and what I'm doing. And the only reason for that is because I've shifted into rather than doing things for the approval of man or even the only for the enjoyment of myself, it's always been now how is this getting me closer to God? And if it's not getting me closer to God, I'm finding something else to do. So in my business, I'm able to use it to connect with people, talk to them, and hear them out. And also the money that God blesses me with that comes through the business, I'm also able to use to bless other people. And for me, that's my purpose. That's what I like to do. And I feel like that's what God put me here to do. So that's the purpose that I'm fulfilling. But anything you're doing, if you're comparing it to other people, it's going to kill your calling in the way that you end up finding what God really has set out for you. And even I feel like even if you're young or whatever age you are, you're still discerning what God has set out for you. So you can trial and error, and you can try things and see if they feel right and stuff, because we have to just do our best with what we have, and we can't get a book that has everything we're supposed to be doing. So we just have to try our best and see what feels right and pick ourselves up when we fall. But it needs to be tunnel vision on ourselves. We can't be looking at other people. And I feel like you can find inspiration from those things, but at the end of the day, what you find inspiration from has to still align with your purpose. And I'm going to read a Bible verse from Ephesians that reminds me of that. So in Ephesians chapter 2, verse 10, it says, "For we are his handiwork, created in Christ Jesus for the good works that God has prepared in advance, that we should live in them." The word of the Lord. So it's talking about the good works that God prepared in advance, because he knows us when we're formed in the womb. He knows the plan he has for us, and it's our job to try to serve him in the best way possible. So if you are a follower of Jesus, he gives us free will, which is amazing, and he's given us the choice to find what works best for us. But even in that free will, what we should be working towards is serving him in the best way possible. And sometimes we get sidetracked, for sure, but at the end of the day, that's what we should be looking for. So if think of I'm going to use an example. Think of a track and it's a race, so everyone's running and they're like putting their all into this race, and the person that's running the fastest, if they start to look at the other lanes and try to compare themselves to like who's next to them instead of just like focusing on their lane, they're gonna stumble. They might trip and it might just slow them down because they're not focused on what they're doing. And I feel like we're the runners and we have to stay focused. And the times when we lose focus and we're looking at other things that aren't meant for us is when we start to stumble. So God is always there to pick us up. He is our Father, and that's the beautiful thing about it. But we have to open that door for him and we have to let him in, because he's not going to force himself on us, and we have to be open to that. So my AC just came on. It's gonna be a little bit louder now. I'm gonna talk louder. Anyways, so yeah, something that helps is looking at ourselves through God's lens. For me, like remembering how God views me as his daughter, and every imperfection that he made me with, he put there for a reason. So like really using my imperfections as my strengths now has helped me so much, especially in business. So like I used to feel like annoying, and whenever I post on social media, I was just like, ew, that's cringy, that's annoying, don't put it out. And I would only put out things that I thought like everyone else would like, or content that looked like everyone else's content. And now I literally just have fun on social media. Like I just post whatever I want, and it's okay if people don't like it. Like I'm like, this is fine. If it flops, it's fine, but I'm being myself, and like that's what's really important to me, and it's the only thing that's going to help me improve. So if my content looks like everyone else's, what's the point of having it? Like it's already out there, it's already been invented by somebody. Like, but you can also find inspiration. So if you see someone post something and you're like, oh my gosh, I love that, I want to try it, I say go for it. Like you can try it, but yeah, just don't be mean to yourself if it doesn't work for you, and just be okay with that not being the thing that works, because you're going to find the next thing that works. And also, in the beauty world, most of the accounts we follow and our mutuals and the people we interact with are businesses. They're all business accounts, and they're advertising themselves. So we are looking at these accounts. We're comparing our full scope of our life to the highlights and the snippets that people post on their business account, forgetting that they are literally having to like advertise themselves. Like this is an advertisement. So they have to show the best parts of their business or the best parts of themselves in order to be, for their business to be like attractive. Yeah, they have to put out the best versions, and we're comparing everything, like our whole life, to the best versions of themselves. Like, I don't think anybody would put out like the ugly parts of the business or the parts when they're failing and stuff like that on a platform where they're trying to acquire clients or customers or consumers of any kind. They want to look their best, and that's totally natural. So just remembering, like when you're looking at a business account, you're looking at them putting out content that's supposed to be attractive. So don't compare it to like your regular life, because you don't need to be on 100% all the time. But yeah, just thinking about how is what I'm doing getting me closer to God and God's mission for me and God's plan for me, and also being happy for people. Like when they are succeeding, it's awesome. I love seeing people like living out their purpose and finding true joy in what they're doing, even if they have like a small following, but they just love what they do. I love to see it. So like I feel like comparing ourselves and feeling like, well, why is that not me? Like I deserve to be there. Or in one, it's like two things. Like you could be jealous and you could be like, I deserve that too. Or you could be like down on yourself, like low confidence, like I'm not nearly as cool as that person who's posting. I feel like to put that on someone else is also it's like diminishing the hard work that they put in to get there. So me looking at someone who's been lashing twice as long as me and feeling like, why am I not in the same place as them? It's because I haven't put in the work, as much work as them, and that's okay. Like I have time, things progress, and I just have to understand that God has his plan for me, and it's never going to look the same as someone else's. So I can't take the time to compare it to another person. and feel down on myself that my life doesn't look like theirs. I'm like so happy with my life, and they have their own crosses to bear. I am very much fine with keeping my crosses and dealing with those. If you take on someone else's life, you would also be taking on the crosses that they carry. And I've been in rooms with people who are like millionaires or six figures, like their lives look pretty ideal. They look like they've made it. Their businesses are booming. They just opened up their 11th salon location, like everything. Like you would look at their life and you'd be like, that's where I want to be, which is awesome because it's encouraging. But they have huge crosses to bear and stuff that you would never imagine, things that you would want to stay 50 feet away from. So it's just remembering that they're still working hard and they deserve what they have. Even if you don't see it, you don't see their hard work, you don't feel like they deserve it. They absolutely do, I promise. They've done their own work and their own personal things. And like, we shouldn't look at that and say, why not me? We should be happy for them. We should be like cheering them on. So that's one way I like to look at it when I'm getting in that negative mind space, is like, no, like you're doing your thing and they're doing theirs, and your thing doesn't take away from theirs. Them being successful doesn't take away from your success. We're all just finding what we want, and eventually the goal is to become settled on like what we have and be content. We can be content with where we're at while still working towards what God has for us at the end of our like purpose. We can hold on, that came out kind of messy. Like, you can be content with where you're at and love where you're at and just accept that it's just a step. It's just, you're just not where you want to be because it's just not happening for you yet. But we can look towards like bettering ourselves while still being happy with where we're at. That's what I think. But yeah, I'm gonna talk about another Bible verse about our purpose with God. In Galatians chapter 1, verse 10, it says, "Am I now currying favor with human beings or God? Or am I seeking to please people? If I were still trying to please people, I would not be a slave of Christ." The word of the Lord. So that one is talking about being a slave of Christ, or serving the Lord, basically. And truly, like, if you're trying to fulfill the purpose that he put for you here, that should be your only focus. Like, and when you're feeling like down on yourself and you're feeling not good enough, those thoughts don't come from God. Our God is a very merciful God, and he created you. Like, he is so proud of you. I truly believe that. Like, I truly believe God is so proud of me all the time. Every time you got up and you're like working hard, like I'm gonna just use an example again. If like when you get up early and you get to work early and you are cleaning your salon and you're just like, dang, like I'm really, really trying. I'm genuinely like giving it my 100% effort. That's when God can feel so proud of us, and you can just see us flourish in the life that he wanted for us. Yeah, I feel like reminding myself that God is proud of me was also a really big thing. And just when God is seeing you, he's not seeing all the little things that you're so worried about, you get so flustered about. Like, he is so proud of you. He sees you as a whole being, and how much work it took for you to get even to this place, and how much work you plan on doing to get to your next place. And he's like, that's my kid, that's my baby. Like, it's beautiful. So I feel like we can't be so hard on ourselves. Those evil thoughts are definitely of the world. They don't start with God. They come from the world. And we can't be a slave to the world. We can't let people decide like what our worth is. Your worth is always dependent on like, your worth is in God. And God created us all like so worthy of a great life. He wants that for us. Like, he gave us free will. He wants us to do the careers that we love and find true joy in it and find it on our own, because if he just like placed us wherever he wanted us, like, and we had no choice in the matter, it wouldn't mean nearly as much. We'd be literally like little robots, like, and he wanted us to have life. So he breathed life into you, and he wants you to live that life to the fullest instead of being like down on yourself. Because truly, like, every single person is God's creation, and we all fall on hard times. We all have bad days, and we can lift each other up. We can be like tools to get each other back up, rather than like trying to be better than the next guy and like trying to be on top. Like, I have no interest in being on top. That's why I like to like go to these events and be inspired by people and hear the speakers on stage and hear like their lives and how they ended up getting where they're at, and then like see where I can go with my life and how possible it is. I feel like people like sharing their testimony at these events, like I feel like the lash events that I've been to in the industry do a really good job at never like glamorizing these people in a way of like it's unattainable. I feel like everyone is really good about being open about their struggles and how they got there, and it just reminds you that like they did it and so can I. And it's not like, well, I'm a loser because they have so much more than me. It's like inspirational, and that's why I love these events. That's why I do them. That's why I put them on. That's why I attend them like all year long. And they're really fun. But yeah, I feel like you can just find God's purpose for you in everything, and everything's important. So even when you feel like your job isn't that important, or like your clients don't really care about you that much, they do. Honestly, like I had to realize that too. Your clients genuinely do appreciate you and they do care about you. They just don't say it all the time, and you're providing them a service, so they don't have to. They don't owe you anything. But like to think that they take time out of their week every 2 weeks when they have busy lives to come see me, and then I'm over here like, oh, I'm not where I'm supposed to be. Like I need to be doing more. Like think about those people who support you, especially the ones that have been supporting you from the very beginning. If you have those people around, like they believe in you and they're watching you, and just like they have no idea like how negative things can be in our brains, and how I'll say like imposter syndrome, like just feeling like we aren't good enough, like that feeling, they'd have no idea, because they walk in your salon, or they walk in your salon space, wherever that is, your home or your suite or whatever, and they're like so happy to see you. Like literally when the day I get my nails done with Leticia, my neighbor, I am so happy on those days. I literally tell people, I'm like, it's a nail day, nothing could go wrong on nail day. Like I'm so happy. I walk in her salon, it's such good vibes, it's such a comfort place for me. I'm never uncomfortable when I'm there, and it's an amazing feeling. So when I realized that, and I realized I can deliver that feeling to my clients, like that changed it all for me. That changed all that self-doubt and that negativity in my head. I'm just like, no, like for some people, my nail days are like people's lash days. They're like, today's lash day, like so happy to go to lash day. And yeah, I love that we have that ability to like literally change someone's day and make their day better. Or especially if you do something like hair, oh my gosh, like leaving the salon with like a blowout, are you kidding me? Like that's amazing, and that's literally like, it just helps their whole day go smoother because they feel better, and they feel like catered to. So someone took the time to service them and put their whole heart into servicing them, and people always like feel like they're not deserving of that, and we're reminding them that like, yes, this hour is yours, or this 3 hours is yours, and like really being present with them and showing them quite literally showing them God's love through the service that you do. I feel like that should be everyone's goal, and we forget about that sometimes because it's day to day, it's mundane, it's like we're tired or whatever. But you have the ability of showing people a glimpse of God's love, a glimpse of heaven, even by being there for them and creating a space for them where they feel comfortable and they feel important, because there's not a lot of spaces like that out here. So just think about that. Your job is so important, and there is zero need to compare yourself. I think we're all doing amazing. And even if you're just starting, or even if you've been doing this 10 years and you're like, why are these people like ahead of me and they've been doing it less time than me? Like, just know, like, you're doing amazing. And I truly, truly believe that. Like, I don't need to know you to know that you have so much passion for what you do. You're sitting here watching this video because you care to like get closer to God, and he is so proud of you, and he made you exactly how he wants you to be. He's not mad at you. He's not like humans. We have to remember God is not like us. So we're used to the judgment. We're used to having to please and jump through hoops and like show people that we're worthy of time. And God is like, it's already yours. This kingdom is already yours. This time that I have for you is already yours. Just sit with me. Just sit in quiet and listen for God. and he'll be there for you. It's really hard, like, for me. I think I definitely want to do an episode about, like, discerning God's voice too, and, like, finding his place, well, your place in his world, because it's there. It's very much there for us, and he has, like, this whole bunch of, he has, like, so many, I'm gonna call it riches. I was trying to look for a different word, but, like, what we would consider, what we would comprehend as, like, riches and the best things he has to offer us, and we're already, like, his children. Like, it's already there, but we have to accept it and let go of these things that the world tells us we need, like validation. Let go of that and just accept the blessings that God has to offer you once you get rid of all the distractions. So it's not that, I feel like it could feel like, well, why can't he just give it to me? Like, but it's the distractions. It's the worldly things taking us away, taking us out of that mindset. So just remember, like, he's always there for you whenever you're ready. Just like that one parable about, even in a flock of, like, 100 sheep, if one goes astray, which is always us, the little sheep, Jesus will come and he will grab us back up and he will go and find us, like, because he wants us all to eventually live life with him. But we have to want it too. We can't keep running. We can't keep denying that this is the life that he has set out for us. And sometimes it's hard to come to terms with that. And it's just something that you have to pray about, sit with, and really find comfort in following his plan. I also wanted to talk about the story of the two brothers, the prodigal son. So, the prodigal son is a story that I know really well. I've heard it a lot in church. But basically, the son, there's two sons, and the father has, like, his own farm, and he at the end of the father's life, everything he has will go to the sons. That's just kind of like, it's an inheritance. That's how it works. So the father has everything the sons need right there. Well, one son goes up to him and he's like, hey, like, since you're gonna give me everything at the end of your life anyways, can I just get my inheritance now so I can actually use it and have fun and, like, have a good life? And so, like, that's kind of crazy. Like, how can he feel so entitled to that? But the father loves him and he says, okay, like, I can't control you. You want to leave the farm and you want to go find your own life. He won't hold him back from that. He actually gives him the inheritance, which is, like, crazy. So he gives him the inheritance, and then he leaves and he squanders it, just like the Bible says. He squanders it, and he lives a fast life, which we all do sometimes. I lived a fast life for sure, but he's taking all of what his father blessed him with, and he's just, like, he's acting like it's worth nothing, and he's just throwing it around, and he's wasting it on, like, new friends, other people, party life. Basically how the Bible is describing it is, like, party life, but, like, whatever that looks like back then. And he runs out of money, and he's like, okay, like, there's no more left because I already took half of what's mine from my father. So he just tries to work, and he has to, like, work with, like, he has to go find a job, and he's, like, feeding pigs, and he has no food. He's starving, and eventually he just goes back to his father. And he says he's so sorry, and if his dad could please just allow him to be a worker on his farm. He doesn't even want the life he had before, because he knows he wasted it, he threw it away, and now if he could just be a worker on the farm, that's all he asks. And his dad, rather than laughing in his face or being like, you gotta be joking, he is so happy to find his son. And that son is kind of like the little lamb that strayed away, connecting the two. But he thought his son was dead. He didn't know where his son was. He thought he'd never see his son again. And to see him again just brought him so much joy. He throws a party. He's like, no, you're my son again. You don't have to be a worker for me. Like, you belong here with this family. And he accepts him back right away. And he slaughters the fattened calf, which is, like, a big deal back then. So the other son, the son that's been there, he's been working hard, he's looking at him and he's like, hey, why is that not me? Like, you've never slaughtered a fattened calf for me when I have my friends together and stuff. I'm paraphrasing, right? But this is the story. I'm trying to catch you up if you haven't heard it or don't know it as well or don't remember parts. But it's a fast version. But he's like, I've never gotten a fattened calf. I've been here working every single day. I never had the audacity to ask for my inheritance before you even died, because that's actually crazy. So God is like, everything I have has been yours. This child of mine was dead, like, according to me. Like, I didn't know where he was at. I didn't know if he was ever going to come back. And he's here. Like, you should be happy too to have your brother back. And it's, sometimes we're the other brother. So sometimes we can be the prodigal son. We can be like turning to a different life, letting worldly things flood our lives in whatever way that looks like. But sometimes we're the other son, and we're looking at other people getting wins and feeling like they didn't deserve it, they didn't earn it, and I've been working hard too. Where's mine? And just remember that, like, it's everyone's, like, it belongs to all of us, and there's enough for everyone. That's another big one too. Like, not having a scarcity mindset just because one brother gets a fattened calf, whatever that looks like. You know, we're not like slaughtering calves, but that's just it's just signifying something like so special at that time, like something amazing, something that you save for very special occasions. The fact that he got it for coming back because it was a special occasion, like, it's such a big deal. But we shouldn't look at other people getting special things or valuable things and wonder, why not me? Like, we've always had it. We just have to look for it and find amazing value in the everyday things that we already have. So, yeah, hopefully you're seeing the connections. Hopefully I didn't butcher that story, but I don't feel like I did. But there's definitely, like, lots of details and stuff. Just look into it. Try to see yourself in any ways. And, like, maybe someday we might be like the father too, or you might already have experiences like that where you've done so much for somebody and they come back and they still want more. And just, I guess, also remembering that people deserve second chances and having mercy. But that's not about comparison. But when I hear Bible stories, I like to think of myself as, like, all of the characters and how I've experienced that in different parts of my life. So a lot of times we see ourselves as, like, the prodigal son, like, oh, I was lost and now I'm found. But there's another brother in that story who we can also relate to sometimes. So yeah, that's just something to think about. Keep working hard. I know you are. Look at my new shirt. It says Child of God, and it is, like, so cool. It's from this brand called Blank Sunday, and it shipped all the way from the UK. So I ordered it a long time ago, but it finally came. And I was actually really excited to wear it for the podcast. So there you go. Yeah, I follow a lot of those, like, Instagram accounts with, like, trendy Christian clothing, and I love it. It's so, but yeah, I just wanted to say, if you want, like, cool Christian clothes, that's one. Blank Sunday, BLANC Sunday. Yeah, that was kind of random, but that outro got kind of disorganized. But yeah, new videos every other Tuesday. Thank you so much for listening, and also remember, there is no such thing as a life that's better than yours. Prophet Jermaine Cole had some wise words. And don't forget about the prayer box. I'll link it down below. Virtual prayer box. So I always will pray for you as a viewer, but if you have special intentions and you wanted to share them with me, you can submit them on there and I will pray for you. And thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you got some new insights from that. I will see you in 2 weeks, next Tuesday, for another video. I'm gonna try to start getting some guests because talking about myself is kind of hard. So yeah, hopefully I have some guests here soon, some interesting topics coming up. And yeah, don't compare yourself. Bye.